9.1 I'm genuinely excited for a few different reasons.
Yeah, it's like I said, a lot of players, especially like I'm one of them, I will feel 9.0.5's improvements big time once I get into 9.1 and I can engage with that loop and feel like, oh, this is new content, I'm enjoying all the content. Oh, why does it all feel like notably better now? Oh yeah, all those changes from back in March that I didn't care about at the time, they're actually relevant now. So it's like that was a lot of effort spent that will pay dividends whenever we get to this.
Kane was very worried about Korthia just being, I guess, another Beast Warrens, like just another bit in the Maw. Ooh. That's not the case.
No.
From what I understand, and honestly, if I'm wrong, I'll be very sad. But from what I understand, they're basically redoing the Maw, and it's going to be a different experience. And Korthia is like a new zone that's a part of that. Like Venari's got a new currency. Yeah. And a new, set of everything. So I actually think that the state of that world content is going to be better. Better in the next patch. So from what I understand, their plan basically is to remove a bunch of Torghast over to just, so Torghast is Torghast. At least reading in between the lines, like I think they're really trying to take a big look at Torghast for the next patch. And then they're essentially revamping the Maw and adding this Korthia zone in. So it seems to me like that's major potential for making both of those systems better. And I can say 100%, if they can actually succeed in those goals with Torghast and make a decent end game patch island out of the Maw and Korthia, yeah, that could be good.
This is going to be really annoying for Mist players who really had a good time, but I'm going to draw a comparison between, imagine if the Maw was like the Trove of the Thunder King. It was, you were in there for a limited time, because I was just thinking about the Eye of the Jailer. Yeah, you can be in the Eye of the Jailer. It's like, that stuff's really annoying, because it's oppressive when you don't want to be there. But imagine, the Maw is, right, like Bolvar standing there, or Venari standing there at Orbos with a stopwatch going, right, you've got 5 minutes, in and out, quick, go. And you go in, maybe not a timer, but like can you make it in there long enough to get as much things back? Oh, you've made it back. Good job. Great. That was like an A+ run. You managed to get all the stuff. Here's gold. Here's something. Here's like a way to progress in this thing later. That actually would have been fine.
So I mean, I 1,000,000,000% agree. And the point is basically just let things be themselves. So it's like, as we go to 9.1 then, as a raider, I am just excited for another raid. This seems like a raid with a really cool theme. Like, it's going to have cool narrative moments, cool, like, boss fights in concept. I mean, we're fighting Kel'Thuzad.
Yes.
Yeah, we're fighting, the Targru, like, he's a pretty big, spooky-looking dude, so that's a cool fight. Eye of the Jailer, finally to get our own back. Fighting Kel'Thuzad, fighting Sylvanas. That's awesome. Yes, I'm 100% in for all that stuff. Brilliant. So we got that. We've got the Maw's open world gameplay seemingly being tweaked around, changed, maybe soft revamped, maybe just revamped. We've got Torghast probably going to be a whole bunch better. We've got the mega dungeon. I think that's the feature I'm the most excited about.
Yes.
So, I mean, in my head, they're just going to add on more renown. And all of those frustrations that exist, those are still going to be there. Yeah. But that put aside, the basics of just another WoW content patch are exactly what I want. Yeah, and that's gearing I've liked, and this might be controversial. A lot of people really don't like gearing in Shadowlands right now, but I quite liked it because, well, it's just whenever I got a drop, I was like, oh, awesome, I've got a drop. Now, of course, my experience of that is that we're in a guild, so we use loot council. Yeah. Now that means that if the drop happens, and it's a great upgrade for my character, ultimately, raid leader decides who gets it based on the needs of the team. So for me, those gearing things all worked out just fine. So I'm just pumped to get into more WoW content, basically. And the idea of just being able to do hard modes of a 5-player dungeon, awesome. And there's ways where I would prefer the idea of a 5-man hard mode to a 10 or to a scaly raid one. Because it's just so much more, intimate, right? It's just such a small group of people, the responsibilities are so clear. So it's like, I'm really excited for that. I'm really excited for that. I'm really excited for the raid. I know I really like Torghast in concept and had a bunch of fun on PTR, so if they make that be something that's fully realized in live, I'm really excited about that. The new campaign, I mean, if it's going to be everybody coming together, it seems like that's actually where the story of this expansion is going to kick into gear.
Yeah.
Whereas I think the Anima drought, just people didn't really feel it because it was just a bunch of, oh yeah, these people we've never met are sad. But in patch 9.1, like, this is Sylvanas and probably Tyrande and Bolvar. You're like, man, shit's going to be popping off, right? Yep. So that's exciting. So it's all the main things there actually seem pretty exciting. And I suspect they know some of these issues about tying every aspect of the game to every other aspect of the game. Like, they made it so that the extra sockets on your gear don't, that's only season 1 gear.
Yeah.
The conduits, they can only be leveled up via Stygia to eye level 226, right? They obviously made those changes, in my head anyway, and I hope I'm not wrong, but I think they obviously made those changes because they're sunsetting that system at the end of season 1, and season 2 will bring something new and different, and I'd say very likely not something that's going to repeat the issues of this system. So it's like, I look at this, I'm like, okay, Mythic plus gearing's way better. Raid gearing is in, a better spot with the changes they made in those hot fixes, and also we're getting something new domination themed,
yes.
So that could be cool and exciting. So it's like, man, we got an awesome raid, we got an awesome dungeon, we got a bunch of other good things happening. I mean, broad strokes, patch 9.1 actually looks pretty damn exciting, and as you said, it's like, we don't care about the Mythic Plus change right now mid-season because we've already done this season.
Yeah.
But new season comes round, get into the Mythic Plus dungeons. Oh, we reap the benefits of this new system. I mean, man, to me, this actually sounds pretty bright, pretty cheery.
Yeah, it's a case where if you think about, like, when everyone is at step 0, whenever you get into Mythic Pluses from the very first, time you're hitting that kind of gear level, sure, it'll be the same dungeons or whatever else, but this time when you get a bit of gear, you'll go, oh, I can hold on to that. Which is even better if you're only doing some Mythic Pluses to gear because you're also raiding and also PvPing, because you can kind of focus on one really good bit at a time. So all that stuff will just make the actual experience of 9.1 significantly better than it would have been without all these changes.
Yeah.
And then God knows what else they're going to actually give us in the patch, any little optimizations, because
could be a big one.
0.05 is a dry run for 9.1 basically.
Yeah, and what I mean there when I say there could be a big one is Anima.
Yes.
We've done the Anima drought. We've not reversed it, but we've helped out a bunch with the Anima drought canonically. I don't want to fall prey to false memories here, but I sort of remember somebody at Blizzard indicating more Anima in patch 9.1.
I think that was kind of I think people were a little bit confused about what actually happened to all the Anima whenever we beat Denathrius. Because obviously it was before the raid, he tore open Nathria and pumped loads of it into the Maw. But at the same time, we did liberate Nathria and canonically cut off whatever he dumped in. So all of those massive storages you see down the back of the Dark Vein room, I imagine there will be soup kitchens and Venthyr, in Orebos, going, here's your Anima. We'll redistribute this back out. So whatever changes they make should be an end to the Anima drought, and hopefully that's represented in how much Anima we get as well.
Yeah. Is there a world where, let's just say, patch 9.1, changes up the Maw? The Maw is now somewhere you can go, and maybe you can recover some of that Anima that Denathrius poured in there. And then maybe it turns out that one of the ways to get Anima in the game is to go to this, maybe a new revamped Maw with this new place called Korthia, where you can do your Covenant strikes that are like Legion invasions, and you're kind of, it's like a thing to do that's not world quests. And if that was the way that you could just go and get some more Anima, I can say that personally, if that was the case, I'd be way more going there, because I'm just like you. The weekly raid happens, I get 1,190 maybe-ish Anima from doing that, and that's basically the Anima that I get. So to bring it back and to wrap things up for patch 9.1 then, I think what people probably will want to hear is like just the short version of the personal angle. So, how do you personally feel about patch 9.1? Are you excited? Are you not? What do you want from it? Do you think it is going to be something you want to engage with a bunch?
That's a good question. I think fundamentally, yes. I'm excited for it because it's more content, and I believe they've done a good job with a lot of their content. I think with a more focused story direction that they've had time to work on, especially like now that we know the Covenants a little bit and we'll be working with them together in a unified goal, I think like the narrative thrust will be stronger. I think the actual quest content of that could be stronger, or at least be more interesting in Korthia, because I think if they're going back into like the history of the Shadowlands, there's a lot of stuff that I personally like that they'll be throwing out. So that's like from that perspective of like the initial like, oh, I'm logging in 9.1, oh, go off the start line. There's all that stuff that I'm super interested in. Then we move to like the raid and Tazavesh, and I'm obviously excited for those because raids have just been great. They're more or less they've been great since the dawn of time, almost, ignoring a couple of classic ones. But the raids are consistently great. I enjoy doing them with the guild. It's fantastic. Mega Dungeon, I enjoy doing that with like a third of our raid group, especially doing those hard modes fairly early on with decent gear will actually be great. Mythic Plus with Valor gearing is going to be better than before. It probably will sting a little bit because of the lack of new dungeons, because Tazavesh won't be a Mythic Plus dungeon. Be doing those same ones again. As to whether like a new affix will change that up substantially, hard to say, but at least the Valor gearing part of it will be there, so I can do that on the loop. And then with Korthia and the Maw as places to go, as long as they're better, I'll be happy enough to win.
Yeah.
It's a case where fundamentally there's content, especially being able to fly around existing zones.
Oh
eventually.
my god, flying.
Did you forget about that?
So I think flying is probably, it's worth mentioning there. For a long time I did defend a lot of grounded stuff. I defend like not worth reopening that can of worms.
Yeah.
Basically, I think that in principle, grounded is 100% the way to go to actually have a more crafted gameplay experience.
Yep.
But I do think that for how World of Warcraft actually is in reality, do flying, and let's get around the issues of flying by just making big, cool zones like the Storm Peaks. Again, and just doing that from launch. But for what I basically think about 9.1, you know what? It is all aspects much better.
Yes, fundamentally.
A World of Warcraft dungeon is a World of Warcraft dungeon. Yes, I may prefer the Mega Dungeon or Kata Heroic over a time trial thing, but hey, a Mythic Plus dungeon's still fun. Do a new season, new affix. I should probably get a lot more into that anyway, because I know I've enjoyed that content like that in the past. And, between the people that are around, I mean, we've got some pretty damn awesome people to play with. It would be really fun. I would like to do that. So, regular dungeoning, which now has a better gearing system. I'm hyped. Tazavesh. I'm extremely excited. I really want to do that. Very cool. Yes, we get an infinite pirate dragon. Great. So, doing Mythic Plus dungeons, seems we're on the up and up. Tazavesh, we're on the up and up, humongously speaking. They're revamping the Maw. They're changing things up. That's all probably going to be in a good direction, right? I mean, I think Blizzard have been listening.
Yes.
So that's in a really good direction. A raid? A new raid? Great. I love raids. Fantastic. Let's go. World of Warcraft raids are great. I mean, bloody hell. I looked through the feature list of this patch, and sure, it might not be some massive blow your tits off with its sheer scope and ambition, but if you actually look at every little thing they're doing, it pretty much all seems good. And in some cases, very good, because tell you what, whenever that crew makes a mega dungeon, they do a damn good job.
Yep.
So, I'm in. Yeah, I think though. So basically, to answer that final question, yes, I'm in. I'm very excited.